What is going on to all my movie fans out there, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new movie review, and today we're discussing the film that had a lot of good buzz coming out of Sundance earlier this year and will be coming to Hulu on March 4th. I'm talking about the new comedy thriller by the name of Fresh, which I'm really excited to share my thoughts with you all and let you know if it's worth checking out in this spoiler-free review. Before we get into it all, make sure you're checking me out on all my other social media accounts. If you're new to the channel, we're continuously growing this awesome community, and I want you to be a part of it, so make sure you're subscribed and you're hitting that notification bell. As you can see on the screen now, if you enjoyed this spoiler-free movie review, well, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and also share this review to all the movie fans you know out there that might like this type of film. But more importantly, whether you saw it at Sundance or on Hulu, what did you think? Did you enjoy the romance, the comedy, the thrilling horror elements? Were you fooled by the end of the film? And let's talk about some of your criticisms and everything in between in the comments below. So, like I had mentioned, I had a lot of friends that actually went to Sundance this year, and I saw a lot of positivity. Now, I didn't want to dive too deep into their review because one thing I saw, like the general consensus is, the less you know about the movie, the better the experience is. So unfortunately, I like to stay away from films. When I see that people say that, I don't like to watch a trailer. But unfortunately, I was watching YouTube one day and the trailer played and I was just like completely captivated by the trailer. So I did watch a trailer. Even with that being said, even with me having seen the trailer and now have obviously saw the film, the trailer does a good job of not giving too much away. I did kind of get a hint in a sense, especially if you saw the poster. I kind of got an idea what we were diving into, but I'm here to say there's a lot more to this film, and it's a very appetizing film. I will say that it's a lot more than meets the eye. So let's get into my thoughts, starting off my positives, going back to that narrative about the less you know, the better, which I literally just said that last week with another Hulu original film by the name of No Exit. Check out that review. But kind of give you a little bit of idea what you're getting into. Number one, we have this character by the name of Noah, played by Daisy Edgar-Jones. So this is my first time being exposed to her, and I'll get to her and her performance here in a little bit. But very relatable situation. Now, if you are someone that has been in the dating game for, let's just say, last 3 to 4 years, where you have the Bumbles, the Hinges, the Meet.coms, all the different dating sites. Of course, you can DM people on Instagram and Twitter and whatnot, but there's a very relatable sense of Noah, and I've have been in this position before. It ain't easy to date in today's society, and I love what the film has to say about the dating game, and especially from a woman's perspective, right? As a male, I can't relate to everything. I can't necessarily say, oh, I know what that's like, but I have to say, being someone that is very sympathetic and understanding to, today's kind of standards in dating, it is hard to date for anyone, but in particularly with women, and the film kind of shows that in regards to the kind of expectations that men have, or in some cases women as well, but just the expectations that women are expected to do certain things and to present themselves in a certain way, and also just safety for women. So the film definitely kind of shines a light on that. But going back to the narrative, Noah, she's out in the dating game. She, has a pretty early date that is pretty terrible. She goes out to the grocery store, and lo and behold, there is Mr. Perfect, played by Sebastian Stan, who goes by the name of Steve. Everything seems pretty well with Steve. He's a surgeon. Sebastian Stan is a good-looking individual. He seems to have a good head on his shoulders. But then you kind of get to know Steve, Noah, and unfortunately, he has a particular appetite that can complicate the relationship. I'll just leave it at that. But again, going back to that narrative, I really enjoy how the film kind of spins itself on the head. The first half of this movie is a straight up, very entertaining, very enjoyable rom-com comedy of two people who are, well, first off, again, Noah and her whole dating situation, very relatable, very funny moments, especially her and her best friend Molly kind of talking about the dating game, and then transitioning to the romantic element when she finds Steve, and it's like, oh, this is a nice, cute couple. They have a lot that they can, similarities in how they were raised and how they don't have as many people in their life as they might want to. And then literally at the 30-minute mark, the film becomes something else. Again, it's a rom-com comedy turned into a thriller, horror, suspense, and literally it was very fresh to kind of get that take, because I can't think of a film that I've ever seen that, and not to give too much away, but once we get into the second half, it's so unique and so engaging. The credits start to roll, and the people who made the film or in the film come up on the screen. I'm like, oh, I was already like engaged in the story, but then I kind of scoot up in my seat like, okay, I like where we're going. And once we kind of hit that second half mark, things get very interesting, and I'll just say that. So I love kind of the experience of watching this film, and especially going into second half, third act, survival kind of horror thrilling film. I really enjoyed those elements. But I want to touch on these performances, man. Like I mentioned, Daisy, who this is my first time seeing her as a, an actress. I know she's been in other films and she's done some television shows, but this is my first time being exposed to her. Very impressed. She is not only very relatable, she's very likable. She has a great sense of humor. She has great comedic beats. There's a lot of moments where she's just acting with her facial expressions that I thought she was good at. So I was very impressed by her and the chemistry she has amongst her co-lead and Sebastian Stan, and the chemistry she has with her best friend, and just seeing her journey from very to the sense of Noah is that type of person. Again, when you're seeking love and you're looking for love, sometimes you make bad decisions, right? It clouts your judgment. And she does something that was very kind of, you don't want to do that, right? But then as the film goes on, she learns from her mistakes. And I kind of like what we get from that character. But I have to say, and again, I thought she was fantastic. The MVP for me in this film is Sebastian Stan. I am a big Sebastian Stan fan, whether it be from his stint as, in the MCU and continue to play Bucky Barnes, aka Winter Soldier. I love what he does there, but I just like him as an actor, whether it's, more recently on Netflix, The Devil All the Time, I, Tonya, 355 wasn't that great, but I like him as an actor. But this is a new side of Sebastian that was very interesting. Again, he's very charming, very kind. Again, a very good-looking individual, but he has a different side to him that I really enjoyed, and I love that different side and just how he was able to be charming and scary at the same time without giving too much away. So Sebastian Stan to me stole this film, and all the other supporting players, Noah's best friend Molly, I enjoyed her. The other characters that kind of come into the story, I enjoyed the performances. So overall, great performances, but Sebastian Stan, I was enjoying it. I was eating it all up, if you know what I mean. But getting into some of the other positives, I thought the direction was strong. I love the cinematography, especially the emphasis on eating food and how kind of like eating food can be very, kind of almost like a very sexual type of thing, the way the film presents it there. And again, kind of maybe relating this to another film, and kind of reminded me of Promising Young Woman meets a film named Raw. Kind of reminded me of those two films at the same time, being very fresh and unique within its own narrative. So those are kind of my main pros there. If I were to mention some criticisms, there are a couple supporting characters, one in particular that involves Molly, her best friend's character, and a particular person she used to date. The only point of that character, a particular bartender, I'll just say that, was just a punchline. I don't really know why that character and that subplot had to be involved. I get why the film put it in there, but it didn't really have a payoff. And kind of speaking of other payoffs, I will say when we kind of get to certain aspects in the second half, they introduce a group of people. And it was very intriguing, very dark and sinister, and very, just like, this is scary, the world out there. But I wish we would have maybe dove a little bit deeper into that element, because the film presents it and it sprinkles it in there every now and then, but we really don't expand on that, which brings me to my last point, or maybe my final two cons. There are things the film has to say about dating, about the expectations for women, about how men can sometimes literally take so much from women and in return get nothing. So it's an interesting concept, but the film doesn't really flesh out a lot of its themes, in my opinion. And then the last thing, I mentioned how the tone switches when we get to the third act, which was very satisfying, I will say, but there was too much comedy in some moments that I want to be a little bit more serious, and I'll just say it without giving too much away. So those are kind of really my only criticisms. So before I give you all my overall thoughts and my score, if you haven't already, make sure to like the video, share the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and of course, come and join the community. Overall, Fresh was a very entertaining, fun, funny, but also thrilling, scary, and very relatable film in the sense of what to expect when dating in today's society, minus the horrific part that the film presents. But again, I mentioned some of the subplots, some of the supporting characters weren't too fleshed out, as well as there were some things I probably would have changed about some of the more slower moments in the second half, and especially the way the film kind of ends. But overall, I was entertained. I was surprised by some of the elements, and I would recommend you all give this a watch. So with that being said, I'm going to give Fresh a 4 out of 5. Now listen, I know there's a big film coming out on Friday by the name of The Batman, which you can check out my review for that. But if you all have time to give this film a chance, I recommend you do. And when you do, let me know your thoughts, pros, cons, favorite moments, least favorite moments. Were you surprised? Were you fooled by the end of this film? Let's talk about your criticisms and everything in between in the comments below. Again, I appreciate you all. Make sure before you leave to subscribe to the channel, come and join the community, like and share the video, and also, again, leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you all for watching this review. Hope you're staying safe. Again, come and join this awesome community. Check out my other content. We'll catch you on the next video.